Hey guys, I'm Hellhound, and I haven't done a book review in a while. I previously reviewed Batman the Killing Joke, one of my favorite graphic novels of all time, and then Spider-Man Vengeance of Venom, which was a trade paperback collecting some really great Spider-Man comic books featuring the villain Venom, aka Eddie Brock. Aside from some other comic-related videos like my Batman collection and one where I was organizing my comics again, I haven't really talked too much about that sort of thing, at least not in a while. So I figured I'd do that today, and I was gonna review X-Men: Days of Future Past, another trade paperback, collecting some of the Uncanny X-Men and X-Men annuals. Obviously, the Days of Future Past story arc. But I think I need to reread it so it's fresh in my mind. It's been a while since I read this one. I have read it a lot, but I want it to be, right off. I want to come right off reading it when I make a video about it. So I figured today I'd review another trade paperback featuring my second favorite superhero, Spider-Man, Batman number one, obviously. Spider-Man: Death of the Stacys. Now, this is a trade paperback collection that collects Amazing Spider-Man 88 through 92, and then 121 through 122. Now, I don't think it's really a spoiler. I think everybody knows that, Captain George Stacy and his daughter Gwen Stacy, Spider-Man, Peter Parker's love interest at the time, died in the comic books. I don't think that's a spoiler. I think everybody watching my videos or diehard comic fans probably already know that. Plus, it was depicted in the two Amazing Spider-Man movies as well, various other media adaptions. This collects that story arc. It starts with Dr. Octopus escaping from prison, regaining his mental, his telepathic control over his metal arms once again, even though they were, really far from him this time. But he managed to control them once more and ended up escaping again, hijacking a plane, trying to rob banks and causing all kinds of chaos and destruction with, Spider-Man coming to stop him. And so a huge battle ensues, obviously, between Spidey and Doc Ock. And with Dr. Otto Octavius, aka Doc Ock, getting the upper hand for a while until what happens is Spider-Man, in order to defeat him, he enhances his webbing fluid to make, as soon as when he squirts it on Doc Ock's tentacles, it makes them lose control, and they start actually fighting each other and then fighting him, and so he's just lost control, and he ends up knocking, I think he knocks a chimney down or some bricks, and so they fall, and Captain George Stacy, the chief of police, and Gwen Stacy's father, tries to save a young kid by jumping in the way and getting him out of the path of the destruction. And Dr. Octopus actually didn't mean to do that either, so it wasn't like he was attempting to kill a child or Captain Stacy either. And so, of course, up to this point, him and Spider-Man were good friends and and allies, and he even figured out his true identity as Peter Parker, which he reveals in his last dying breath. Because what happened was when he pushed the kid out of the way, he was the one who ended up getting crushed. Spidey mourns his death. It was Dr. Octopus's fault, but everybody blames Spidey. Everybody thinks that Spidey did it. They call him a murderer and stuff. He feels guilt and remorse. Just look at that. Captain Stacy sacrificed himself to save that young boy. And Spider-Man's seen carrying his body, so nobody knows what to think. Everybody blames Spider-Man. J. Jonah Jameson, of course, has a field day with that. Gwen Stacy, of course, mourns her father's death and decides not to trust Spider-Man anymore. She hates Spider-Man. She even wants to vote for this corrupt guy running for Sam Bullitt, running for DA. She wants to, he kind of manipulates everybody. He's really a crook. He's really a bad guy. He has some mob working for him who, constantly beat people up and constantly mugging innocent people. So the next few issues kind of become about Spider-Man taking down Sam Bullitt and clearing his name and proving his innocence. Though Gwen Stacy doesn't know Spider-Man's really her boyfriend, Peter Parker, and the love that they share is really, I think it was done really well in these comics. It was really passionate, and you could tell they're really in love, and so it made it all the more tragic and heartbreaking what eventually happened. And so Spider-Man finally puts away Sam Bullock in a really awesome issue featuring Iceman in a guest appearance. I love Iceman. He's one of my favorite X-Men, and I really hate how he's really underused these days. He was only in like 1 or 2 episodes of the 90s animated series, and played by Sean Ashmore in the recent live-action movies. He still wasn't given really enough screen time, enough time to shine, in my opinion. He's easily like my top 3 favorite X-Men, along with Cyclops and Beast, and of course Wolverine. So I guess it'd be a top 4. But I freaking love Iceman, and I love when he at first he fights Spidey, and then they end up teaming up, and that's when they get to take down Sam Bullock, and it's revealed, his crimes are revealed, and everything. Thanks to Spidey and Iceman, and I really like when they teamed up, like in the Marvel Team Up series as well. It's always a good thing. And then of course in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, and he teamed up with Iceman and the original character Firestar. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Sam Bullock's brought to justice, and Spidey and Iceman decide to be friends, basically. And so then we skip ahead to issue 121, where at the beginning it says it didn't want to reveal the title because it would give away what happened. It doesn't give it away till the very end, the very last panel. And by the way, the 88 through 92 were written by Stan Lee, and I forgot to mention, and drawn by John Romita Sr., who's one of my favorite comic book artists ever. Knock Darkness Returned and stuff. Some great artwork from Mr. Romita, of course took over for Steve Ditko. And then the others are written by, illustrated by Gil Kane, another one of my favorite artists. He's just friggin' awesome. And written by Jerry Conway. Who's a great writer. He took over for Stan Lee. I think Stan Lee left in like issue 101. Issue 100, I think, is the one where Spider-Man grew the extra arms. If I'm not mistaken, Morbius was either 101 or 102. Don't quote me on that because it could be wrong. My memory's a little fuzzy. But anyway, issue 121. Norman Osborn's, what happened was Norman Osborn's son took LSD, and so he's bedridden, and he's just freaking out. He's just constantly just in a state of panic, and he doesn't know who he is, and all kinds of, he's just trapped in his own mind. And I think the drug abuse was an escape from what he found out his father was actually the Green Goblin. And all this craziness drives Norman Osborn to start having memories. He previously had amnesia, and he also knows Peter Parker's Spider-Man, so he's definitely a deadly adversary. Spider-Man's most notorious nemesis by far. And so, he starts even hallucinating that he's fighting Spider-Man. It's great artwork by Gil Kane again, I must say. And he finally remembers who he is, and once again dons the mask and the glider and his arsenal as the Green Goblin, one of the most the deadliest foes in Spidey's Rogues Gallery. And easily my favorite Spider-Man villain, obviously. It's a huge battle ensues atop the bridge. This whole thing was adapted in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I won't comment on how well they did it or anything, but I think it was done okay, and in my opinion, not as bad as everybody says, but not quite as good as it could have been either. Green Goblin's planning on killing Gwen Stacy. And he knocks her off the bridge. Spidey tries to save her with his webbing, and she breaks her neck and dies. And that's when they reveal that true title, The Night Gwen Stacy Died. One of the most iconic, most historic moments in comic book history. This really sucks they ruined it with the whole clone saga and stuff. But, this is really beautifully done. Wow, very emotional, very heartfelt. And, Spidey kind of blames himself because she died mid-air when his web caught her. But, really, it was the Green Goblin's fault. He was trying to kill her. It wouldn't have happened if he hadn't intervened. And literally taunts Spider-Man right after. A fall from that height would kill anyone before they struck the ground. and Spidey gets really pissed off. He's like, he says, "You killed the woman I love, you know, and that, for that you're gonna die." You know, just wow. I mean, just look at that last panel. Really powerful stuff. Yeah, this was excellently written, excellently drawn. And then the next comic, the final one here, is issue 122, which I actually own. I'll show you here in a second. I should have had it ready. Sorry about that. Yeah, I actually own that comic, 122. It's not in the best condition, you know, it's nowhere near mint, but, you know, that's the way I got it, but, you know, it'll do. Yeah, got the Green Goblin's Last Stand. I've actually got one. It's one of the earliest Spider-Man comics that I own, actually, and definitely one of my most prized possessions, despite not being in great condition, but, you know, it doesn't matter, because I'm going to read it, and I'm not planning on selling it anyway, so, who cares? But yeah, oh yeah, the Green Goblin. And so, yeah, Spider-Man's really pissed off. He plans on killing him, really. He's pretty much every line of dialogue he's screaming. And when he shows, you know, Peter Parker unmasked, he just looks really distressed. You know, he just looks really distressed and just angst-ridden. And, yeah, just look at that. It looks like, look how determined he is. He just, you know, can't focus. All I can think about is getting vengeance against the Goblin. Norman Osborn took away the love of his life. You know, he destroyed his hopes and dreams. And so a battle ensues. Spider-Man realizes he shouldn't stoop to his level, shouldn't become a murderer, and in one final attempt to beat him, the Green Goblin accesses his glider by remote control and ends up being impaled by it and is killed. That's the end of the Green Goblin, end of Norman Osborn. Spidey reveals that he still feels kind of empty inside, so he kind of confides in Mary Jane, and you know where that goes, of course. And yeah, so Captain Stacy died, Gwen Stacy died, and Norman Osborn, a.k.a. the Green Goblin, all died. And one of my favorite story arcs of all time, all collected in this great trade paperback, Spider-Man: Death of the Stacys. Yeah, I'd love to get the rest of the original comics that are featured in here, especially 121, the night Gwen Stacy died. I mean, that's, you know, that's definitely a collector's item, and probably costs a small fortune. But I'll probably get my hands on it someday, and I'll be you guys will be the first to know. I'll show it off in one of my videos, I'm sure. Yeah, excellent artwork by Gil Kane and John Romita Sr., and you know, great writing by Stan Lee and Jerry Conway. Very well written, very well illustrated. Some of my favorite Spider-Man stories ever. Yeah, Spider-Man's my favorite. Second favorite superhero. Green Goblin's one of my favorite villains. Oh yeah. Yeah, I would open this and, you know, show you some of it, but that's okay. I'll just show you from this version. But yeah, definitely a great read. I highly recommend it. And probably next time I'll review X-Men: Days of Future Past. The X-Men's probably my third favorite, next to Batman and Spider-Man. I mean, they're a team of superheroes. It's a group, but as far as publications go, you know, the X-Men stories are my third favorite, next to Batman and Spidey. This one's no exception. Very great read, and movie adaptation's really good too. Yeah, definitely check this out. Some great battles in Dr. Octopus and Green Goblin, and some truly tragic results. And you know, the death of the Green Goblin, of course, is depicted in Spider-Man from 2002, the Sam Raimi movie with Tobey Maguire and Willem Dafoe. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to the Spider-Man Homecoming coming next year, but I'm not really all that pleased about some of the casting choices. Ned Leeds is like some fat Asian guy, and like, I don't know, they try to be diverse with all the different races, which is fine if they're minor characters, but don't replace existing characters, you know, that are already in the comic books with, you know, don't make them different races and genders and whatnot. I mean, come on, I appreciate, you know, diversity and, you know, having multiple ethnicities. After all, it's New York, and it makes it kind of more realistic. But, you know, don't change existing characters. I'm a purist. It annoyed me when Human Torch, Johnny Storm, played by Chris Evans in the 2005 Fantastic Four, didn't have blonde hair. You know, that annoyed me. I'd be just as mad if they made, like, you know, War Machine or Black Panther or Falcon or Even Spawn, if they made any of them white, you know, they need to be black, and you know, all the other characters need to be, you know, whatever, you know, race and whatnot that, you know, that they were when they originated. But other than that, I think it looks pretty good. Michael Keaton is rumored to be playing the Vulture, which I've been dying to see the Vulture as a villain in a live-action Spidey movie for quite some time now. That'd be excellent. I think Keaton would be a good choice. My first choice would have been Bing Kingsley, but since he already played the fake Mandarin in that Iron Man 3, which really pissed me off, I guess that's out. But anyway, yeah, Spider-Man's awesome. Comic books are awesome. Check this out. It's a great read, and long live comics. Stan Lee is you know, getting really old. I think he's in his early, maybe mid-90s, and but yeah, hopefully he has you know, a few years left in him, and you know, because that'll be truly a sad day when we lose Stan Lee. So, but hopefully it won't be anytime soon, because you know, he's responsible for some of my. He pretty much made my childhood. You know, responsible for some of the best moments I had growing up. Some truly great times from Mr. Lee. Alright guys, I'm Hellhound. Thank you for watching my show, and until next time.